call this meeting to order. In the absence of the mayor, we'll need to elect or designate a presiding officer. And I'll entertain the motion to do that. Everybody talk to me?
Well, I'll make a motion that we have made a motion to appoint Dick for the hearing portion where the mayor may have conflict, so
Right.
most of the agenda's that, so I'll make a motion that Dick, he can be presiding officer for all matters, I guess, tonight.
Do I have a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you. Okay, Councilman Copeland is not able to be here this evening because of the death in the family, so I want everyone to keep her in our thoughts and prayers. But so the first two items on the agenda were related to her travels to DC, so we'll table them this evening, and then we'll move on to item C, which is approval of the hearing officer for the hearing scheduled for next Wednesday.
All right, I have contacted former Circuit Judge Douglas, or also known as Doty George, on this, and he's agreed to do it and has cleared his schedule to do it. And he said his fee would be $200 an hour for the hearing. And he has, well, he's a former circuit judge for our neighboring circuit of Washington, Marion, Greene, and Taylor County. And he also was a hearing officer for the mayor's hearing in Hodgensville, so he's been through this before. And like I said, his fee is $200 an hour, so I would move that we would approve Judge George as the hearing officer for the potential removal hearing of Mayor John Royalty. Now it's scheduled for April the 12th, or whenever it's held, in case it's rescheduled for some unknown reason.
You make that motion?
Yes, that's a motion. I don't know about, I didn't put I move on it. All right, that's a motion.
Okay. We have a motion to, I guess would that be employee Judge George? Contractor Judge George for the hearing officer at the proposed hearing next week. We have a second?
I'll second.
Is there any other discussion?
I didn't catch his first name.
Douglas?
Douglas, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, next item of business then is D, which is municipal order 2017-05, the public hearing on removal and attendance of witnesses.
Can you read it out loud?
Please.
All right. Municipal Order M 2017-05, whereas the Bardstown City Council authorized an investigation per the authority granted in KRS 83A.13013 by passage of a motion at its November 22nd, 2016 meeting, whereas on January 3rd, 2017, the law firm of Matt Miller and Crosby P. LLC was hired to conduct this investigation, whereas on January 24th, 2017, the City Council authorized the scope of the investigation to be expanded into additional areas of concern, whereas on March 28th, 2017, Scott Crosby presented the final investigation report prepared by Matt Miller Crosby P. LLC to the City Council and City Clerk. Whereas on March 28th, 2017, the City Council approved acceptance of the final investigation report. Whereas on March 28th, 2017, the City Council set a public hearing for April 12th, 2017 at 10 a.m., hereinafter referred to as the hearing, to consider removing John Royalty as mayor of the city of Bardstown pursuant to the authority granted in KRS 83A.0409. Whereas each participant in the hearing may desire to call certain Bardstown city employees as witnesses to provide testimony during the hearing. Whereas the City of Bardstown Personnel Policies Revised 2015 provide P, cooperation with investigations and searches. The city requires all employees to cooperate fully and, when requested, to participate in city investigations. This includes but is not limited to being totally honest and forthright when responding to city inquiries, as well as completing documents and statements requested by the city. Now therefore be it ordered by the City Council of the City of Bardstown, Commonwealth of Kentucky. Number 1, the Bardstown City Council investigator, Scott Crosby, or his designee, and Mayor John Royalty, or his council, may give email notice herein after referred to as notice to any Bardstown City employee requesting their attendance at the April 12, 2017 hearing and any related proceedings thereof. Number 2, any Bardstown City employee receiving notice shall appear at the hearing and cooperate as provided under the City of Bardstown Personnel Policies Revised 2015. Number 3, any Bardstown City employee receiving notice who appears at the hearing shall be compensated his or her normal rate of pay. Number 4, the Bardstown City Clerk shall timely distribute this municipal order to all Bardstown City employees upon its adoption by the Bardstown City Council.
Okay, thank you, Bobby. Okay, we have the municipal order number N2017-05. I guess we need a motion to approve as read.
I'll make a motion that we approve it as read.
Okay, and a second, Councilman Buckman. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, next item on the agenda is council comments.
I have a couple matters I'll bring up. And we had talked, we'd scheduled a hearing last, at our last meeting, April the 12th, 2017 at 10 a.m. And I had made it subject to contacting the Nelson Circuit Clerk to see if we could get into the courthouse and Nelson County Justice Center and have it there. I've since done that, and she has reserved a courtroom for that day for us, District Courtroom B. And also to make sure there's no question we're complying with the requirements to call a special meeting on that day to have the hearing, I have prepared a special meeting notice that has been signed by 4 council members. Ms. Copeland wasn't here. It only needs, it's been signed by 5 council members. I think I said 4. It only needs 4 signatures, so we'll present that.
Thank you.
And I have one other matter.
Excuse me, just a minute. And we also have to make sure we make the right notice at the Justice
Yes, I'll
Center
make sure it gets posted.
and at the city hall, correct?
Who will prepare the agenda?
Well, I assume you will. The 3 items are on
Okay, it's
that.
already here.
And
Okay.
there is, I don't know if you want to look over real quick. B is kind of long, that's just because it's, part of it will be a closed session. When the council goes, after the hearing, the council will have to go into closed session to discuss the evidence and make an adjudication, and then we've got to come out and of course make whatever motions after that, and that's the 3rd agenda item. And of course, the first one is the hearing.
Got it.
So,
All right.
so just the normal thing on that. And I think, tell me if I'm correct, it has to be posted here and out the Justice Center, both.
Yes.
It does.
Okay.
District Court number B, did you say?
Yes.
Number B, okay.
At the Nelson County Justice Center, 200,
District Court number Yeah,
whatever,
have it
it's on
closed.
there.
I've got it on there, right. Okay, thank you.
Is that everything?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Are we gonna use the video equipment and so forth there?
I talked to her, of course, I explained to her that the clerk makes the record of the hearings and everything, but she said she would make a staff member there available to use their system in-house because, we've got wired up here and if you just brought a tape recorder there, it may or may not pick up everything, and they've already got it all built in, and she said she would assist on that.
All right.
And the video recording.
They got video recording also.
Yeah, video, I think one courtroom had audio, used to have audio, and one video. That's back when I practiced law, so they probably upgraded them since then. They've switched courtrooms and whatnot, so whatever's in that courtroom, she's gonna make available to us. And district courtroom B is a normal district courtroom, and when you walk in the front doors, on the first floor, A is to the left, I think, B is to the right, so it's one to the right.
Okay, anything else, Ron?
Different subject though. Okay, this is actually for our chief. Today in Louisville, they had a funeral ceremony for Officer Nick Rodman.
Yes, sir.
We had somebody there representing.
Yes, sir, we had a large contingent there.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad to hear that.
We had honor guard plus officers, off-duty officers in uniform, and marked vehicles.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Then the other question I have, presiding officer, I had someone call me regarding dumpsters, and basically what it is from what I gleaned from my conversation, is that the only person who actually deals with dumpster upgrades is Mary Riley. And if she's not available, then we don't have a good business model, because she is apparently the only person that can handle that.
You're
So-
saying someone's requested a new dumpster, or got a dumpster issue with a wheel needing repair, or something like that?
Or, yeah, that she's the only person that can handle it. So if that is the case, and I tried to see her today, but I couldn't get her, we probably need to train someone else who can also fill in for her in the event that she's on vacation, or, sick, or something like that.
Okay, problem, I'll check with,
Jessica.
Mr. Hamilton or Jessica on that. I think her name was Mary,
Mary Riley.
oh, McCann, she's changed names.
Should we do-
All right, now what are you talking about? Okay, anything else, Ron?
No, sir.
John, did you have some other?
Yeah, there's one other matter, and this concerns the hearing next week as well. In watching some of the media reports, Mayor Rolte's attorney, Jason Floyd, had mentioned something about litigation, and he had indicated it might be sooner rather than later. So that tells me he may try to file something between now and the hearing date. I'm not sure. But since we can only hire someone to a meeting, and we've got only about a week left, I think my thought, that maybe we ought to have someone hired to represent us in case there is something that comes up between now and then. I've taken the liberty to contact a local attorney here, who I think you're all familiar with. Bruce Reynolds here. He's, as we all know, he's a former city attorney, and we've seen him up here at some of the meetings, so he's very familiar with the issues that are going on. So if something happens quickly, he won't have to get up to speed or anything. And I negotiated a rate, very reasonable rate, with him. He said he would do it for $150 an hour. So I'm just asking that we be authorized, somebody be authorized, me or anybody else, to employ him in case he's needed for any matters that may, litigation matters or legal matters that may come up that may inhibit or interfere with our hearing date.
What kind of litigation would you anticipate?
Well, I'd hate to sit here in public and go through all the possible.
You don't want to clue somebody in.
This would be.
Those are the words maybe I'm looking for.
This would be for us to retain counsel to represent us if there's any circuit court level activities related to this.
And that's the only thing I think it could be circuit court level. Well, now, when you start circuit court, and you, they could go up to the Court of Appeals quickly, certain matters could, so at whatever level. Hopefully it's not necessary, but they're just doing it in an abundance of caution. So I would make, I'll let somebody else make a motion, because I don't know if you want to empower me to sign the contract. Maybe I shouldn't make the motion, or if anybody else can be empowered
So we only have to sign this if needed.
If needed, right. If there's nothing that happens, if it's not needed, then nothing will be signed.
Sure, I think Bruce is charging too much.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to take up for it, but I'm going to make the difference a lot.
It's well worth
Okay,
it.
so, we have a motion then, to retain, Ms. Reynolds to represent the council,
If necessary.
at the local level if necessary on matters related to the hearing and or investigation going forward.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I'll make that motion.
No, I guess I could ask somebody be empowered to sign this contract too.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be me. I don't care who it be.
Why can we all sign it? Why can we all sign it? If need be. Just
I
like
guess we all, yeah.
Just like we did the,
You notice, we can run around here like that.
Well, a majority, you might want to say majority in case somebody's not available.
Yeah, in case Keisha's not here or something like, for her
yeah,
situation, four of us can sign it. I guess any four.
majority.
Okay, the motion is amended to include that 4 councilmen be required for this signing the contract to retain Attorney Reynolds for these purposes.
At $150 an hour rate.
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion, then is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councilman Williams.
Who made the motion?
Mr.
Councilman Stack.
Okay.
Okay, any discussion? Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed? I also vote yes. Okay, anything else under councilman comments? Okay,
Yeah, I'll make a comment. This cemetery headstone
Cemetery restoration.
restoration has turned out to be quite an ordeal coming up this Friday. I think it's
In a good way.
Yeah, in a good way.
Right.
There's I think at least 60 people.
65.
From out of state.
Mhm.
Some of them
65
are
total
coming to this.
right now.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
So it's,
Anyway, go ahead. You explain.
well, it's on Friday morning, starting at 8 o'clock at the Colbeck Building. And there'll be a lecture and presentation by Jason Church, who's out of Louisiana. And of course, the Kentucky Cemetery Association is sponsoring a part of the event, as well as the grants that were received through our preservation coordinator, Richay Jennings. And lunch is on us as far as KCA and the grant. And then we go over to the cemetery, Bardstown Cemetery, at 1 o'clock to restore, mend, repair 3 different stones. And gotten confirmation from 3 out of the 4 families for the restoration, but didn't get a chance to get the last one. So hopefully we'll be able to continue with that last stone. But it's going to be well-attended. People from Pennsylvania, Missouri, Ohio, Indiana, and several of the Kentucky Cemetery Association members are coming up as well. So I'm excited.
That falls under Richay, it's our historic review board coordinator, and she, I don't know if anybody's been watching her, but she has been doing a whale job.
Yes.
Very good at what she's doing.
We work with her on the Talbot end, and she's great to work with,
Yeah.
and I can't say enough good things about her. She worked with us very well.
We worked with the only restoration of our own church, that old Union Church, too. She was very helpful.
She is.
Putting all that stuff together, too.
And I was talking to her this morning, or this afternoon, and she indicated to me that they had as many as 65 people that were registered. And she was really excited about it.
Very excited. And to be able to use the Colbeck Building for it too is pretty exciting.
And she's moving forward too on a lot of the archives and getting these things, to where you'll be able to get all the information, that's strung around town, 4, 5, 10 people, whatever. And she's compiling all this information. It's going to be really neat. Working a lot with Gary Bishop. I don't know if y'all know Gary or not, but he's a really big tech guy. He's moving this thing forward. It's pretty nice.
Okay, thank you, Barbara, for
Mhm.
that important job of bringing that up. Okay, under mayor's report, there's a new appointment of Jody Jenkins for the Joint Human Rights Committee, Commission, to fill the unexpired term of Mike Yaden that will expire on March 1st, 2019. I guess he's stepping down, and
Yes.
Jody, I think her bio was sent out, I think, earlier. Looks like she's pretty well qualified, and looks like she wants to get involved in the community. And, I guess we need a motion then to approve her appointment to take Mr. Yaden's unexpired term on the Human Rights Commission.
Make a motion.
We have a motion, and a second.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Ms. Jenkins has been appointed to take that position.
Okay.
I guess the finance, Barbie, was just a reference to that.
Well, there's just a
was that
little-
revised?
It's a little bit of a hiccup, and I need your all's okay to approve it. Of course, at the last meeting, it was tabled, unfortunately, Councilman Copeland tabled the council travel training policy. On the 2,000 that you all were able to apply for her Washington trip, an additional $280.55 was secured and given to Ms. Copeland, but it was taken out of the travel training fund that she still has a balance of $64.26. So in order to have the $280.55 approved, the motion from the council contingency fund for the 2,000 indicated that it would not be the travel training policy fund. So I need you all to okay that it is now okay to use $280.55 for this Washington trip from her travel training policy fund.
Well, we did use the 2,000 out of the contingency. correct?
Yes, sir.
But
But the motion was that the Washington trip was only out of contingency, not out of the travel training.
right.
But now travel training funds have been applied to the
You
Washington
submitted a
trip.
request for that?
She's already received it.
She talked to me about this, on this, and of course, she's gonna use up almost all her rest of her travel allowance, so I think there's maybe some more conferences coming up, so other than the $60-some odd, she'll have to do that out of her pocket on this, so, and I think maybe I made the previous motion for the 2,000, so I think since we're in a way amending the previous motion, it might have to, under parliamentary procedures, correct me if I'm wrong, it might have to come from whoever voted in the majority to make the motion, so I'll make a motion that, she can use her, travel expense allowance to cover the expenses that were not covered by the $2,000,
The balance of her,
up to the balance of her
yes.
account,
The remaining balance of her
up
funds.
to the balance, it would not exceed the balance of her account.
All right, so that will include an additional $64.26 if she'd like it?
No, if she's got if we all got $1,000 in the account, you could use it for whatever. You just put a request for funds, as long as it doesn't go over $1,000. So I don't even know why it's even a big deal about it.
Well,
She's saying that she's already got I don't have the exact, $280 out of the rest of her 1,000, and she was asking, well, can she also get the other $64 that is left that she hadn't got paid?
unfortunately, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, well, maybe I missed it, okay.
Okay, the only reason excuse me, Councilman Jenkins, the only reason it's an issue is because your motion for the Washington DC trip said that it would only be the contingency fund, not the travel training fund.
Okay.
So now travel training funds have been reimbursed to her for the Washington trip. So I just need your after the fact, okay?
She's approved.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
after the fact.
So we need a new motion or just amend the
No,
original motion?
I think Councilman Kelly's motion would cover that.
But in order to do his motion, that would include an additional 64.28, and 26 in my question.
Well,
Well,
would the 64-2060 stay there?
It can, but he
It
said,
can, or she will, because she had more expenses than even what was allowed in the rest of her, what was it spent on a trip, took the 2,000 plus everything that she had left in her $1,000 travel allowance, plus even more. She's still going to pay some out of her pocket. But, you know, we're down to $64, whether she can go and have that as well as
Right,
the
that's my question.
$285.
Right, in addition to the 280.55.
And
Well, if she made a request for the 280.55, then I would just approve.
That's what I was
Okay,
saying. See, that,
and that's fine.
well, I thought you made a request for the back balance of it, but, and they only paid her the 285.
Well, there was a question in regard on the finance side about the 6426, because the 6426 that she has been reimbursed for came out of last year's $1,000.
Oh. I don't think you can pay that out last year's.
Well, that's the way it was presented to me by the finance director. So she still has an additional 6426 from this year's $1,000. It's on the calendar year, you all. It's not on the fiscal year.
well, that's what I'm
All right,
saying.
let me restate the motion.
Okay.
I'm gonna move, and then, you know, if she comes back and wants something different, she can talk to us, but at this
Okay.
time, I'm gonna move that we approve what has been paid to her so far out of
Thank you.
her travel allowance.
Thank you.
280.
Period, I guess that'll do it.
55. That's perfect.
Okay, we have a motion,
One second.
Thank you.
we've had plenty of discussion. No discussion.
Confusion, maybe more discussion.
I got one more question, to confuse a little bit more. Do we limit it to $2,000 total or not?
Yes, sir.
Out of the contingency fund.
Correct.
But each council person has an additional $1,000.
You can use as at your discretion.
For training.
And just a little bit of background on that, in the previous council, we had requests that created a little bit of, you know, contentious discussion concerning the type of training and how much to pay and everything. And the suggestion, myself and Councilman Hagan kind of came to the same conclusion that what we need is something similar to what a lot of companies have, which is a travel policy that says that you can do this and this. And it would take some of that, you know, you could use it for whatever training that was basically you deemed suitable, and that you'd have to report then to that's the reporting part of this. You'd have to report to the council. And then it would take any of that every time reporting and discussing and everything, it would take that out of there. And it was limited to $1,000. My suggestion at the time was subject to the budgeted amount, and Councilman Hagan said, no, I want to limit it to $1,000. And so it was limited to $1,000, and then out of fairness to the existing council, or the incoming council, it was changed to the calendar year rather than the fiscal year, so that the new council would have access to funds for training and travel.
So, okay. All right. So it's split, that's why the confusion is split between budget years and everything, because it's calendar versus.
Yes, and that was out of
Right.
deference to
Understand.
the incoming council.
Right.
Barbie said, you said the email out that effect.
Yes.
And the problem was, is the way I worded the motion, looked like I just limited a 2,000 period and prohibited her from using her, you know, discretionary travel allowance, and that wasn't the intention of my motion at all, it was just to put the 2,000 from the contingency fund over there, and I didn't wanna, and it ended up putting a restriction on it almost, is the way it was worded. Is that right?
And this clears it up. This
Yeah.
clears it up, so it's just so that they'll see in the minutes that it didn't go against your own policy, your own motion. So this clears it up for me. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any, all in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't think we have anything else on our agenda for today, unless any other councilman. All right, then seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Sheffield, and a second.
Second?
Councilman Williams. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?